up now. All right, everybody, this is Etienne Marcel, producer Sports Inquirer, and we're happy to be joined once again. It's been a while by head coach of Kennesaw State Volleyball, Keith Schunzel. Keith, thank you for joining us. And yeah, we're just talking off camera. It has been a few years, and we want to do more activity and content with Kennesaw, and we're able to catch up with women's soccer a few days ago, and now we're to volleyball.
Yep.
And yeah, you guys, you get kind of the first few you really are the first athletics. You start before football even. So
Yeah,
this
no,
is
it's
a really awesome that you're able to join us, Keith. Appreciate it. And just how was the off season for the Owls and just preseason camp heading into 2025?
for sure. It's been a really good year for us. Last year was our first year in CUSA, and that went really well. And we made it. We ended up fourth in the league and made it to the semis again, which for our program was the 10th straight year. Now, obviously, the 9 previous were in the ASUN, but including last year, that was the 10th straight year we had been to the semi, the final, or won our conference tournament. So really successful first year in Conference USA for us. And then we were really fortunate that we were able to return pretty much every single player on our roster. We graduated one, but she had gotten hurt the weekend before conference play started last year. So she didn't even play off conference. And the other 15 players on our roster from last season returned. So we had a big group to train with in the spring. We took an amazing trip to Europe that we had been fundraising for, and did our first ever foreign tour at the end of May, early June. And then we checked in here late July, early August, and we've been rolling now for a couple of weeks. So, we got a great group. We're really, really connected. This is the most connected, I think, just relationship wise, emotionally, that our team has been in years and years. And right now we're pretty healthy, and we're training really well. We got a lot of experience back, and 15 of our 17 players returned because that from last year, and so we brought in 2 new freshmen. But we got a really good group. I think there's a lot of excitement in our program right now.
Yeah, and just what was that like, the conference, being in the Conference USA? You end up finishing with a winning record in conference, and as you mentioned, going to semis of the conference tournament. That was a big adjustment, though, because since you've been with the program and you're entering your 12th season, I think that's
13,
accurate.
13. Yep, 13.
13. You just
Yeah,
finished your 12th season, entering
yeah,
your
correct,
13th.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So over it, so more than a decade, it's been a sun for, I think, your entire tenure prior to
yeah.
last year. So how do you think you and the team handled that? Just new opponents, new travels. I'm sure you saw some parts of the country that you had not been to before, but still finished with a winning record. And you say get that semifinal appearance. What did I say about the team and just what it was able to produce last year?
There was a lot of excitement in general, just because it was something new. In the ASUN, we had established ourselves certainly as one of the top 3 or 4 in that league, pretty much every single year. We had won 4 championships, and it was kind of the same cast of characters. There's constant movement in and out of all these leagues these days. That's just where college athletics is at. But we kind of knew where we would fit, and at the last 4 or 5 years in that league, Florida Gulf Coast had just really dominated the league in many ways. But we were certainly competing at the top of that league. And so there was a level of excitement that it was something new. It was something different. We had turned over a roster from 2023 to 24. A lot of players graduated. And so it felt like a really nice time anyway for us to join a new league. And I think in general, the experience has been incredibly positive. The main difference is the distance of travel, which again, this is where college athletics has gone to. And there's just not very many, if any, walkovers in this league. Everybody is well resourced. Everybody has facilities. Everybody has a larger commitment to college athletics. And just then ASUN, certainly the top of the ASUN had that. The bottom, frankly, did not. And there were teams that were really scraping by and trying to put good athletic teams out there without a whole lot of resources. And, that was a very good league. The top of that league was excellent. I think CUSA, the top of the league, is also excellent. Now the league is just so much deeper. There are just so many more teams. If you don't show up, you will lose. And so yeah, it's going to take a top 50 level team in the country to win this league. But if you want to finish in the top 4 or 5, you're going to have to be playing really high level ball, where you're in the top 75 or top 100 in this league. And so it's a great league. It was a really fun last year to play some new teams and to travel a little bit different places. This year's not going to be any different. It's going to be just as hard. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and once again, we're here with Keith Schunzel, head coach of Kennesaw State Volleyball. Let's get to the players. You return so many players. That's just such a unique, because I talked to so many coaches around the country. We've expanded, and yeah, that's roster turnover. Obviously, NIL and transfer portal. I mean, it all kind of ties together. But the roster turnover is tremendous, and to return all of your starters and really your entire roster is pretty significant. But let's get to them. Let's start with your outsides. I know you have Manu back, and what about just her development as your senior outside? Led it in aces and kills last year, and just what about the rest of your wings or your attackers, your
Yeah.
outsides?
Yeah. Manu's been terrific her whole career. She came in as an older player. She's from Denmark and had played a nice level before she got here, but she has improved every single year. She has improved her skill, her pass, her defense, her blocking. She came in as a high flyer, somebody who could kill the ball, and now she's has developed into even more of an all-around player who can handle the volleyball, who can do things, who's better out of system attacking, who's got more shots than what she came in with. So I've been really proud of her because it would have been easy for her as an older player to come here and not improve. But she's worked really hard to improve. So obviously excited to have her back for one more fall. And then Caroline Chastang, who is the only transfer we've ever taken here, actually, who's her older sister, Lauren, was one of the best players in program history. That is because we knew that family so well. That is a huge reason why we took Caroline. I've known her since she was a 7 or 8 year old. She's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing young woman and a great player. She started for us last year on the left and had a really nice season. She has gotten a lot better. And so we expect her to compete for one of the left side spots. And then we moved Kiernan Stamey, who was a freshman last year in the fall. She played right side in the fall, partially because of injury to some other players, partially because that fit best with our team and where she was at in her development. We're moving her to the left. So we did that spring. And so those three will primarily handle the left side role, and all three give us really great things. And Kiernan's a heck of an athlete, hits the heck out of the ball. She's probably got the biggest arm on our team as far as pace from on her attack. And so we're excited about her, and she's only a sophomore. And so she's got a really high ceiling. And so we'll see what she can give us this fall, and we'll just keep developing her and working with her. And then on the right, we have, three all returning players who we're excited about. So Haley Patterson had a torn ACL in the spring of, let's see, it would have been spring of 24. And so she is fully cleared and playing tremendous volleyball and is in great shape. And so she will very likely be one of our starting right side hitters. Ashlyn Anderson, who was a freshman last year, is a big 6'3" lefty. She has gotten a lot better. She will compete for a right side spot. And then one of our seniors, Maggie Bukovich, is one of our most skilled players and just sees the game really well, has a really high volleyball IQ. She will be competing for a spot over there. So we have a bunch of really nice options on the pins. And then we have a freshman, one of our 2 freshmen, Hannah Pierce, who will probably play on the left more than the right, but is going to be very, very good. It's going to take her a minute, and this is another level. So we really have 7 players, and we're excited about all of them. I feel like we're in a really good place in that position.
Yeah, how valuable is that? You mentioned multiple players either playing left or then right or switching them over because of need, or how important is versatility on your outsides to be able to play both positions, especially when it comes to rotations and strategically when you are even serving or even defending, how you
Yeah,
handle
it's
that?
huge. And I think it's likely we'll end up in a 6-2 again this year, which is where you have 2 setters on the court and you have, right
Yep.
side hit opposite of them. And so when you're in that system, you need attackers, and we have attackers. We have, a number of lefts, a number of rights. I think it fits our needs and it suits our team right now to play that system. So I have a feeling we will end up mostly in that system again. Both of our setters have gotten better, but neither is significantly better than the other. Neither has really said, I'm running a 5-1. This is my team. It's very obvious that they should be in that 5-1 system where there's just one setter on the court. So I feel like with our personnel, with where our setters are at, with where our hitters are at, I feel like, yeah, we're gonna be able to use that depth and versatility. This is the deepest we've been, certainly at the pins, maybe ever. We have 6 players who are ready right now to help us at the pin attacking spots, and so we're excited about that.
Yeah, once again with Keith Schunzel, head coach of Kennesaw State volleyball. You mentioned your setters. You have Kaeley Walz back, sophomore, led the team in assist. But you said you're going to possibly try to play two at the same time with that 6-2 positioning or
Yep.
lineup. What about her and just how important it is to get those setters? You mentioned all of your attackers, but obviously someone has to get them the ball, just the quarterback, the offense. What about her development and just their setters and how important they're going to be to this offensive unit?
Exactly. Kaylee's gotten a ton better from freshman year. She had a really good freshman year. And she's another really high ceiling athlete. She's got good size. She's 5'10", pushing 5'11", jumps well, moves well, really strong with her hands, and she can move the ball around really well. Her location's gotten better. Her feel for the game has gotten better. Just like, you brought up the quarterback. Are you making the right pass to the right player at the right time? Are you taking the right risks at the right time? Are you taking care of the ball and not making errors, not, having a bunch of bad non-hittable types of sets? And she's gotten a lot better at that, as has Courtney Brown, who's a redshirt junior, and Coco's gotten tremendously better. She's very strong with her hands, very, very gifted at moving the ball around as a setter. And she is continuing to learn the art of setting in that position and finding the right hitter at the right time against the right blocking matchup. And it's a lot more than just setting the volleyball in the air when you're in that position. And so, they both improved a lot. At times, we watch both of them and say, yeah, maybe we should be running a 5-1 with her. And then the next day, maybe we should be running a 5-1 with her. And I think they're both doing really good things, and they're both going to help our team. And again, I have a feeling we're going to end up in this 6-2 system more than not, because they both give us things that are a little different from each other that are going to help us win and play at a high level.
Yeah, and the thing about volleyball, like unlike maybe other sports, you have I know you have your, and I'm still even to this day try to figure out the substitution aspect.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially this early part of the season, we're going to see everybody. I think that's healthy. See the court. I mean, that's just the nature of the business. So I think that having that depth is going to be really a big benefit for you. But then you also have your middles. You have Olivia back, led the team in blocks, and the middles are important transition. I mean, obviously we think defense with the middle, but they also contribute offensively. Just what about that unit and how important they're going to be just for the team?
Sure. Liv had a tremendous redshirt sophomore year. Last year, I think missed all conference by a vote or two, or she was just out of that list. And frankly, had a very good case to be an all conference player. Had a really good year. Her best volleyball is still ahead of her. She's the highest athlete as far as jump touch we've ever had. She's getting close to 11-foot jump touch, which is pretty insane.
Yeah,
And
that's ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah, I think 10.9 is her highest, and she probably could add another inch or two, which is crazy to say. And
For
just
those that know, that means she can dunk a basketball. I mean, for
yeah, if
you, I
she
mean
could
that's
palm a
like,
ball, she could dunk a basketball. I mean,
yeah, that's
she's almost a foot above the basketball rim. So it's she's
just a
crazy.
reference for people to kind of like put that in perspective for
Yeah,
a woman athlete to be able to clear that is, I mean, that's tremendous
and
athleticism.
she's a tall girl, but she's only about 6'1". It's not like she's 6'5". So it's
Right.
she maybe 6'1.5", something like that. But just high flyer. But technically, each year she has gotten better and able to handle the ball better. Her arm swing has gotten better and better, and so that's the challenge with her. Can she go from being a high flying athlete to being a high flying athlete who really understands the game, sees the game well, can make the right reads on the block, on the attack, can technically put her body and her arm in the best place to kill the ball and block the ball. So, she's made tremendous progress in her career, and we're looking for 2 more great years out of her. It's, I would guess, again, she's going to have, if she can stay healthy, she is going to have like she, there's no reason why she's not set up to have a great year and be an all conference level player. And then our other 2 in that spot are Maggie Bird, who was a pretty fairly raw coming out, was a state champion level high jumper coming out, played volleyball but never played some of the open level club volleyball that many of our recruits have played. And so each year she has improved and gotten better, and she's doing great, playing a really, really nice level for us. And then Ava Gardner, who had kind of an injury riddled freshman year, was starting early and then had some knee issues and whatnot, had a little surgery over the off season, but is now playing and probably back to probably 80% or so. And so we expect her to compete for a spot as she gets back to 100%. So we have 3 in that spot right now, which is a little shallow in that position, and only 2 fully healthy at the moment. which is a little scary. However, Ava, there's no reason why she won't be back, and we'll have three really nice middles to kind of rotate through that spot. But yeah, your defense, your block really revolves around the middle blocker position, and so it's a critical position, especially from the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you get a senior defensive specialist or libero, Leah Freeman, back as well, led the team in digs. So obviously piloting the defense, that's just important as well. What about her? And then we'll transition just to some fun questions to wrap
Sure,
up our time with
it's
Keith
been
Schunzel.
awesome to watch Leah go from a high energy, athletic little freshman who just dove around the court and loved playing defense, was a okay passer, but you could tell she could be really good down the road. She kind of went from that to up and down with confidence to now Leah is the leader of our team. Leah is a senior. We've never done captains. If I named captains or if we voted, every single player, when we ask, hey, who do you consider your leaders, Leah's the first one they say. And she's consistent, she's stable, she's grown, she's confident. She is the libero, and she's in charge of the court. She's calm out there. Certainly she'll go up and down with some of her play. That's the nature of sport, right? And she's a college athlete. She's not a 35-year-old pro that's been doing it forever, but Leah is a tremendous player and has really developed and grown and worked hard. And she was going into last year, she was kind of in a libero battle. It was very, very clear that she is our libero now. Again, she's another one that I think can play at an all-conference level, that I think is ready to have the best year of her career and just really run the court passing and defensively and be in that libero jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. And wrapping up here with Keith Schunzel, thank you for your time as the Owls prepare for their 2025 season. Just some fun questions to wrap up here, and it kind of it'll probably translate some ways to this season as well. Favorite arena collegiate arena, or maybe professional, that you've been able to coach in over your time, besides obviously the Nest at Kennesaw State? One or two that were fun to be
Yeah,
at.
I mean, there's really nowhere in the country like what Nebraska's got going. As far as 8,300 sold out box suites, waiting list for season tickets. I mean, last year they broke a women's world record for
Hmm.
attendance in any women's sport and played in 90 whatever thousand their football stadium. I mean, so that's when I was a Kentucky coach there. It's pretty incredible. Another one that I don't think people realize is Hawaii. I played as a collegiate athlete in Hawaii. Haven't coached a team there. Played twice, two tournaments there. That is a state and a city in Honolulu and certainly university that they know volleyball. They grew up around it. It is a big deal there. After I went and played games there, multiple people stopped me on the street in Honolulu and said, "Hey, great game last night." And I'm looking around going, what do you mean?" They're like, "You're the setter for Ball State, right?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "You played great last night." You're on the news out there. They're leading the sports out there. So Hawaii is a really cool environment that people understand volleyball. They cheer for both teams. Pretty neat place to play. And then Texas has an awesome little gym, old little gym that's really neat. Wisconsin, same deal, really old gym, just thousands of people every night, right on top of you. So there's some cool environments out there. People are surprised, I think, when they start to look into volleyball and how many people are going to these games and how cool these environments are. There are a lot of neat places to play around this country.
Yeah, what's a favorite recruit? I've been asking this question to coaches, and they don't want to highlight anybody, and I respect that because they do become your children or colleagues, I guess, over time. But who are one or two favorite recruits as far as like the story or the path? Maybe you traveled really far, or maybe someone you saw like really young. You mentioned you have a transfer that you saw since they were in elementary school, in essence. Who are one or two recruits that just, when you look back on, it, like that was a really fun process of getting them on campus?
Yeah, Caroline, is a neat story because her sister and the family connection for sure, and she means a lot to me, and that family means a lot. We mean a lot to each other, and so that's been really neat to have her here. Manu, who's on the team right now, has been another really cool story because she was pretty lost as an early teenager, and then friends of ours, American friends of ours, went and coached her in Denmark, and she happened to be on the team, and then one thing led to another, and she ended up finishing high school, and they said, hey, she wants to come to the States and play university. And so how that worked out, and just having seen her grow so much was really cool. So that's been neat. There's been a lot of challenges. It's been really hard at times with her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been really neat, And I'll throw another one. There was a set of twins, Anaya and Amariah Boyer, back in the day, and Anaya, who nicknamed Nye, which she ended up being a 3-time first team all conference player, was one of the best players we've ever had here. She won our first regular season championship, and she won 3 championships while she was here. And we recruited her. We wanted her sister. Is the gist of it. Amariah was actually better in club. And we ended up, they were identical twins, and they were both tremendous athletes, but really Am was the initial one that we saw. Well, Am came here, they came here, and Amariah got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis her first fall. And it was 2 totally different paths. Anaya stayed healthy, played, had an incredible career. Am was we were trying to get medicine. We were trying to get her body to, just calm down. And we were working. I mean, that's a very, very serious disease. Well, Amariah played all 4 years. And towards the end of her career, she ended up starting. And it was really neat to see her commit to it. And even despite all that going on and how much success her sister was having, I remember Am saying, Coach, if you want me, I'm staying, I'm playing. And it was really cool because she wasn't healthy at the time when she said that, but she wanted to be part of this program. And she was on and off, just different things. It was a really tough disease, but that's one of the stories I tell everybody. We actually made an award, the Amariah Boyer Hope, Courage, and Inspiration Award, and we've given out a few times to some people because it was so cool that this young woman had this horrible disease as a healthy college athlete coming in, and she stayed with it and stayed the course and kept playing, and we got her on the right medicine, and she's doing great now, and she's still around town and works camps, and we still stay in touch. And so just
That's great.
is really neat for us.
Yeah, the Boyer twins definitely, and local. That was a really a big story for Kennesaw State, the community in general. Favorite uniform combination? What do you like to see the Owls in?
Marcel, I don't even know what color we wear. That's the wrong coach. You're asking the wrong coach that. People say, "Oh, what would you wear last night?" I have no idea. I just know we won or we lost. I honestly have no idea what we're in. That ain't me. That's our assistants.
Do you you let the assistants and players kind of choose that? Do you have
Yep.
any? Some coaches have a full say, they control it, and some are just like kind of like
Not
your
a
approach. So
clue.
you're more the latter.
Couldn't tell you. Don't particularly care. Nope. I'm so in the moment that I don't have any idea.
I like it. I like it. And we've seen you in the fashion. You like the shirt and tie, but we've also seen the more lax look over the past few years. Are we going
Yeah,
back to shirt and tie, or?
coming out of COVID, I think that really obviously across the country and all sports kind of went a little bit out the wayside. So I tried to hang on to it for a while, but now we're kind of all into the quarter zips and tennis shoes, and it is more comfortable for sure. So
Yeah, and I think they like the matching look. I guess that's part of the deal.
yeah.
Uh, what's one thing that I know we got a few minutes here? What's one thing that you would maybe not see eliminated, maybe improve in the collegiate game, maybe just in volleyball or NCAA in general, that you've been noticing just now the
Oh
past few
boy,
years?
that's a big question, Marcel. I think volleyball's in a great place. It is.
Okay.
It's grown tremendously. One thing that I don't think necessarily people realize unless they're aware of the international game, we play with some different rules here. So we have 15 subs internationally, you only have 6. And it doesn't seem like a big per set. I'm talking about. It doesn't seem like a big thing until you look at how you are able to play with that many subs. And I think in collegiate game in the States, you're able to get all these defensive specialists in. You're maybe able to run a 6-2 and get setters in on and off the court, hitters on and off the court. Well, internationally, because you only have 6 subs, you can make a couple subs, but then for the most part, you're playing with the same 6 or 7 players. I actually prefer, to have the subs, and I think the game can be a little more exciting. You get some more ball control players in the court and all that stuff, but there is a push to make it a little more like the international game, which, I don't necessarily agree with, but there's that. But, volleyball, people don't realize this has been the most popular female sport in our country for about 10 years now on the youth side. And so I think as a whole, we are doing terrifically. The push is, can we get even more visibility, even more TV, even more big matchups, more media, more attention to showcase these athletes. I mean, like we were talking about Olivia before. I mean, Olivia is almost at 11-foot jump touch. I mean, that's like world-class athlete. right? Like,
Mhm.
and not enough people know stuff like that. I mean, on any given year, we'll have 5, 6, 7 women that can easily grab a basketball rim, and people don't really necessarily know that. I mean, there's many basketball teams that don't have that many on the women's side.
Mhm.
So, I think it's just that as a whole that we're all trying to push this. And obviously college athletics is in a crazy place right now with all this pay and NIL stuff. And, some of it's good, some of it's not good. And I think, I don't know if anybody has the right answer. I certainly don't. Um,
Mhm.
but I think volleyball people, we have some momentum. It's just how can we capitalize? And a lot of it has been organic. A lot of it has been coaches and associations and just trying to push the envelope and marketing ourselves and trying to continue to make this a bigger deal. There's a lot of really good people in our sport right now that are really pushing it forward. It's just there's plenty of challenges in the way too. But
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last question here with head coach of Kennesaw State Volleyball, Keith Schunzel. What's the best coaching advice that you've received or even been able to give to one of your athletes, maybe something on or off the court or just life in general?
for other coaches, I always just say, when people ask me about coaching in the profession, I always just say just be a lifelong learner. Just learn from people, things you like, learn from pe- things that you don't like from people. Just keep growing and learning how you are, your style. I always tell people be themselves. Don't try to be, any one. You can name any coach. Don't try to be that person. I got to be Keith Schunzel. I can learn from other people, but I got to be them. And for the athletes, I'm constantly telling our athletes, just, hey, keep breathing. Let's do right now what's coming up. Okay. Let's just take this one step at a time, and not freak out about stuff because these seasons are long. It's hard being a college athlete, growing up from essentially a girl when you get in here to becoming a young woman by the time you're leaving, right? There's all these different little bumps in the road and things that happen. And it's just all about being consistent over long stretches of time and just trying to stay the course with stuff, and that's one of the things I love about this job, that we're trying to help these young people grow and learn who they are. And I think our staff does a really good job of it, just being patient and trying to help mentor and kind of lead the way by how we're acting and how we're treating people. But it's a hard profession, but it's a fun one. I really enjoy a lot of parts of it. I enjoy the parts of it more than the parts that I don't enjoy. I can kind of just say, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that right now, and just try to help these young people grow. But it's just all about being consistent and just treating people the right way.
Well, Keith, we appreciate the time. Thank you. And we'll be keeping track of the Owls throughout the season.
Thanks, Marcel. Good to see you, man.
All right. All right, and we're back. That was Keith Schunzel, head coach of Kennesaw State Volleyball. I hadn't talked to Keith in a few years, literally. Well, not literally in life, because we do stuff with Kennesaw State, so I do see him on campus here and there. But as far as like in this format, it's been a long time. And as I did say, yeah, we need to do more Kennesaw State, and because they are local, and we need to get more engaged. So we're so glad to catch up with him and got some really good knowledge from him about things on and off the court for the Owls, who do start their season very soon. As always, and thank you for listening and watching this latest edition of Fighting Peaches. As always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video hosts, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. Once again, it's Etienne Morris Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.